The next three slides I'm going to share with you are examples of what I've bought at public auction before. So I'm going to kind of go a low, medium to high and show you the variety of what's available on the market. This particular property here at 1702 West Yuma in Phoenix, not a great part of Phoenix. This is a fourplex. Now it's not a great picture, but we specifically chose to keep the before picture on and not go with the after picture. The after picture is much better. The exterior is painted. There's a little bit of light landscaping done. Some gravel put out. New roof is put on. Trees are trimmed and cleaned up. And the 3 of the 4 units were remodeled. This particular property started out with an opening bid of $21,200 for a fourplex that had 2 tenants in it. I picked it up for $1 over. Nobody bid against me, and this is about roughly 18 months ago. Shortly after I bought it, we just wanted to test the market and see, once we were done fixing it up and we had it fully rented, we wanted to see what the market would bear, so we got an appraisal done on it. And the appraisal came in at $85,000, which we're really excited about. When I was done with the project, I put about another $20,000 into the property. So I was into it about $41,000. Now, having 4 tenants in there, all paying about $400 a month rent. It's not a high rent area, but $400 a month rent. They're all small units. They were about 800, maybe a little bit less. I think they're about 600 square feet. So just tiny 1-bedroom, kitchen, little area for a kitchen, and a little area for a living room. They were very functional, very, it was all about utility. It just worked. It was a place to, hang your hat and sleep at night, and that was pretty much it. Now, I look at an investment like this, while some people look at that and go, 1, that's an area I don't like, or it's a property I don't like. By the look of it, to me, it's strictly numeric. Does it, can I buy it low enough, and can I turn it? Because while something like this is great to hold on to, you could hold on to this. This could be annuity for life. Have $40,000 into it, receiving $1,600 a month consistently, and these are cash paying tenants and good tenants. And then whenever we'd lose a tenant, within a week we'd have another tenant in. So that was never the issue. But good solid paying tenants, and most of them all paid in cash. It's an annuity for life. It's one of those investments that you could just forget about. I mean, you put a property manager in there to go collect your rents and, keep the basic upkeep on it. But it's really one of those that will appreciate over time. The defaulting note on this particular property was $120,000. So in 2005, thereabout, somebody owned that and refinanced it to $120,000. And of course, if you remember 2005, you could pretty much get a loan on anything. If it looked like a structure and had a little bit of a roof, you could get a loan on it, and probably a pretty good loan. And that's a pretty sizable loan for this property. But you can see what the bank did. The bank had to make a decision coming up to auction. They said, okay, we're owed $120,000. It's not performed for us. And do we want this back? They probably sent somebody out to take a look and said, boy, it looks pretty rough. And again, that's why I shared this picture. Not everybody's into the look of that. And again, it's numerics for me. I know what a roof costs, and I know what exterior paint costs, and I know what it is to turn a unit. At $21,200, that's a great buy for me. And I would buy it again all day long. As many of those that would come available at $21,200, I would literally take them all, because you can't, if you just held on to them, at some point they're going to be worth $100,000 again. And if you've got $50,000 or less into them, you've got great appreciation, but you've got great cash flow and a great cap rate all the way through. Because you tell people what your cap rate is on it, and they don't believe you. Like you're in excess of a 25 cap, and they kind of go, "Are you really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've only got $40,000 into it, and I'm making X, so it pays out very well." So the nice thing about that is we had 2 tenants in place, and so we really only remodeled 2 units and kept going. So that's on the low end. That's something available at auction. And still, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. I think I own today. I think I own a combination of 4 or 5. I think they're all fourplexes right now. I had a few duplexes and triplexes, but again, I don't want to convolute my exit strategy with you. I like to buy something, add value, and sell it. That's been my philosophy for a long time, even if it's a fourplex. So if I can buy, and actually, let me step back. We sold Yuma about a year into it for $75,000. So we had an appraisal for 85. We had a cash buyer for 75,000, and we sold it and made a decent profit off of it. So, you know, boom, let it be somebody else's opportunity to appreciate and go forward. You know, today would it be worth something higher, 85, 90? In 5 years, would it be worth 100,000? Sure, but I'll buy more. I'll take that money, I'll turn it and keep investing. I've turned many different fourplexes, triplexes, and duplexes, but I've also held on to a handful. I think I've got 4 or 5. Right now, I have them managed, so if you think it's odd, I don't know the exact number. It's because somebody else manages them, and the rents just come in. So here's another property that I bought, again, about 18 months ago, and I like to share this one because I call this the sweet spot in the market. This home was built in 1978, and 78 or 79, and it's really not far from here. It's in Mesa, off of north of 60, off of Stapley, and you know, kind of a solid neighborhood in there, but all homes in about that same time frame, late 70s. This particular property I drove myself, and I actually, this is an after picture. But when I drove the property originally, I parked in this exact same spot because there's a street that kind of goes right into the property. And when I looked at it originally, the exterior needed to be painted. The trees in the front were a little bit, you know, shabby and needed to be trimmed. The roof was new, and I could identify that visually from the street. But that what I thought was an AC unit and came to be an EVAP unit that's sitting in between those trees was completely apart. The 4 sides were laying off on top of the roof. And there was just a carport there. There was no garage door. So in looking at this property, and what kind of makes it the sweet spot, in my opinion, is when people drove up to it, it didn't look that good. It looked pretty shabby. It looked a little bit run down, even though you could tell that some things were done, other things weren't. When you looked at the roof and went, oh, my God, is that the AC unit with all the sides blown out? You know, immediately people are going, oh, that's thousands of dollars to repair. Well, fortunately, I was able to identify that as a EVAP unit, knowing that they're not very expensive, and you can either leave it on or take it off, and really the AC unit's the expensive component. So I went down to auction knowing I had a little bit of advantage here, because see, in today's market, when they say, oh, everybody's down at auction and everybody's bidding and things are going at market, well, sometimes things do go at market, and they're buying for a particular reason. So I try not to get hung up on that, and if I did get hung up on it, I'd probably been out of the business long ago, because the cycles of buying at auction ebb and flow. There are times when there's buyers in that are buying anything for any price. I mean, you could literally almost go down and bid them up because they'll pay whatever for them. A home like this, though, tends not to go that close to market. And here's why, because it takes more work, and not everybody wants to do that. The ones that take less work are the homes that were built, you know, say from 2000 and newer, that, you know, it needs carpet and maybe a couple rooms of paint and a good cleaning, and you're done. Well, everybody's after those properties. And believe me, I'll take as many as I can get too, but the margins are thinner. And if you're willing to work off of a little less than 10% margin, then you might consider that. This is something to consider if you're willing to put in a little bit more effort and yet then reap the reward. So let me tell you about this property on Solomon. I bought it at auction at $84,700, so $84,700 was my winning bid. I added, when I got to the property, it was occupied, so I had to do an eviction. The people were great people inside. They the house was in immaculate condition. The gentleman who lived there and his family, he was a remodeler by trade, so he was a tradesman, so he could pretty much do anything from paint to kitchens to bathrooms to you name it. So the interesting thing is the inside of the house was nearly fully remodeled. Kitchen was just recently redone. There was granite countertops. Now keep in mind, if I had to do the kitchen on this, and when I went to buy it, I had already planned for, I'm probably going to have to do a kitchen in a home that was built in 78, because I didn't get to see inside of the house because it was occupied. Coming in and taking a look at the property, I've got a new kitchen with granite. But if I put a kitchen in there, I wouldn't have put granite countertops. To me, that's a Formica neighborhood. It's not a granite neighborhood. Now, if everybody in the neighborhood had granite, certainly I would step up and put granite in. But it certainly wasn't the case, 18 months to 2 years ago. went through the process of doing the eviction, really nice people. Carpets were even clean, new tile flooring. So the interior of the home was really, I mean, a few things need to be done, but not a major remodel. Now, the exterior was a little bit different. To me, a home sells much better, even though you don't necessarily get your money back out of it, or you kind of get a dollar for dollar out, when you put a garage on a property like this. So we had to wall in the side because it was open, as most carports are, and then put the garage door on. We can typically get that done for about $1,800. So that's not a huge expense to us. And I think the house sells so much quicker. So if every other home in the neighborhood has a carport, half carport, half garage, and that's kind of what they're comparing, the one with the garage is just going to, because it's more functional. It's almost, because of the safety and the security for your belongings, there's just a lot more people who would write a contract quicker. And in this case, we had that happen. We painted the exterior. Part of the front exterior is black construction, so we left that, of course, its natural color, texture, and just painted what we needed to paint. So all told, when we were done with this, we put about $12,000, maybe $15,000 into the property. I think we're closer to 12, and it turned out to be a real nice property. I had it on the market for $149,900. We got a contract on it. Well, actually, we had a full price contract on it at $149,900, but the appraiser wouldn't allow us. I couldn't get it above $145,000. So based on the existing comps in the area and some of the kind of rules and regs they had at the time, I couldn't get it any higher than that. So we settled at $145,000, and and that was fine. We closed. We made a profit. The net profit out of that was right in the vicinity of about $32,500, and that makes it a really good deal. So, and I had about, call it $100,000 totally invested to make, a $32,000, $33,000 profit is a really good return on the money. Now, if I could do that 3 times in a year, I've made an exceptional return on my money at the end of that year. Now, the homes aren't always available. Like when that sells, the day it sold, there wasn't another one just like it available. So you kind of have to search around, and depending on what you're looking for, you might find something newer, something older. And those are decisions you have to make. So it's all part of the game in being in play almost every day. I'm in play every day whether I'm ready to buy or not, because I don't want to miss the opportunities for really what's happening out there. I think you should always have those at your fingertips. So again, Solomon, sweet spot in the market, in that mid-range, sold for $145,000, had about $100,000 into it, and turned out to be a nice profit.